We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Today I wanted to upload some Atlanta United career mode stuff, but instead we need to talk about what happened last night. And for the rest of the video, I'm going to have 2 points up on the screen. They're the 2 most important points of last night. Yes, Mexico could have gotten us into the World Cup if they would have beaten Honduras, but for some reason, we decided to wait until the last day to qualify for the World Cup. This was not a difficult group. Yes, Costa Rica did well. Yes, Panama did well. And yes, Honduras did well. Very good points. But with the talent pool that we have, with the team of players that we can get, why did we not make the World Cup? That's what I want to talk about today, and more importantly, what I want to talk about today is where we go from now. Now we have 5 years to prepare for a World Cup. Now we look at the future. We look at what players we can use at our disposal to get rid of the players that just put this country to shame. And if you don't know what I mean, anywhere you look right now, we're talking about the players that need to be out of the club, the logs in the team, the dead wood in the team, the pointless players that continuously make it into the team even though they're not performing well enough. And as you guys see on this screen, this is the team that I would put together. These are the players that I would pick for the next 5 years. And by saying that, I mean there is 0 point for us to continue to play the players that are not going to be playing in the next World Cup. We need to start producing more players. We need to start increasing the ability of the players we have now. Now we're going to go into a couple games against Mexico just to throw it up on the screen and just to talk about something. They're the only team in our group that is actually in FIFA other than us. So there's going to be gameplay in the background. This first formation, we're going to run a 4-2-3-1. Not a formation that I think the US maybe would use. I think they're very set in the 2-striker ways, but I do think Bobby Wood by himself would be a lot better in this younger team. There's a lot of players that we could bring in that we should have brought in for the qualifiers. I don't know why John Brooks didn't make the team. He's doing well in Bundesliga. He just became the U.S. massive signing that we all wanted to see. He's by far the best defender that we have, but he didn't make the team. Jeff Cameron sat the bench. Michael Bradley played instead. That's fine. Michael Bradley didn't do anything that wrong, I guess, but at the same time, Michael Bradley needs to stop being in the team. He hasn't performed well enough to actually deserve that spot. Thankfully, we finally stopped playing Jermaine Jones, another player way too old to continuously be playing to get us into a World Cup when we have better players. Pulisic did well in this game. Not incredible, not like he did in Panama, but definitely still did well. Ended up getting us somewhat back into the game. But the players that we continuously played, Josie Altidore included, you look at the Panama game, yeah, he did well. You look at the Trinidad and Tobago game, where was he? He wasn't there. He didn't play. He wasn't important. Now, you look at the team that I've put together, Bobby Wood is one of the older names, I guess, in the team, of players that I actually kept in the starting 11 from what we played last night. DeAndre Yedlin, of course, and Christian Pulisic. There are other players that still are in this team that I think could do well, but the majority of the players need to go. We need to stop relying on players that did us well in the last World Cup, in the last Olympics, and all of these things. Yes, they did well for us then, but they are older. Unless you're in the top 100 players in the world, I do not think that you should be playing for the World Cup after the age of 30. Except for maybe a keeper, who in this squad I do have Bill Hamid. By the time of the next World Cup, he will be over 30. Is he our best option at keeper? We don't know what the next 5 years are going to hold. Does he stay at DC United? Does he move on to Europe? We don't know. We don't know how good he can be. So as of right now, I say Bill Hamid's probably our best option out of the somewhat older keepers that we have, because Tim Howard's going to be too old. Brad Guzan's going to be too old. Sean Johnson, maybe he could get up there. Jesse could probably get into the side. There's a lot of options for us at keeper. We've always managed to produce good keepers, but for some reason we're continuously only focusing on Tim Howard. Yes, currently he is our #1 keeper. He's our best keeper. He's probably the best option as of right now. I do not have a problem with him playing in this game. I do have a problem with the fact that we don't work harder to make our players better. We don't play our younger players in the friendlies in all of these games that we should be playing. We do play younger players, maybe not ones that should get into the team. Again, I think this is the best team that I could have put together of the younger players that are available to us. We need to get a manager in that actually believes in using players that weren't born in America but do hold citizenship in the US that want to play for us. If they want to leave the country that they're playing for and come to us, we should welcome them with open arms. They're an American citizen. They should be able to play. Case in point, we need to make sure that players like Saif, I believe is how you pronounce his name, actually gets into the team. He's an incredible player. He gave up the opportunity to play for his original home country, and we played him in a friendly once. He did well, and we never saw him again. Why aren't we playing players like that? It does not make sense to me. There's so many players at our disposal that are fast, that are young, that are capable. They're goal scorers, they're assisters that we do not play. It doesn't make sense to me. So we look at the team that, yes, I've put together at this point. I'm saying these players, maybe not tomorrow, could have qualified for the World Cup. They could maybe not have qualified for us right now, but we didn't even give them the opportunity. Instead, we played players that did well 4 years ago. We played players that did well 8 years ago, instead of using players that could get us there and actually do well for us next year. So as we move forward, we should look at 5 years from now, not the Gold Cup, not these competitions or anything like that. We shouldn't be looking to play the current best players. We should be looking at what players are going to be the best and most capable and young enough to get us to qualify for the next World Cup. Obviously, we've already messed up this year. This year's already over. It is what it is. We need to look forward to the next 5 years. We need to make sure that the players that we have that are fully capable are getting comfortable with each other. As of right now, I wouldn't say we have 11 individuals on the pitch. There are players that play well together, but they're like little duos. They're little lanes of players. They're not an entire team. And I don't know if that comes down to the manager. I think it definitely has a point to it. But I think it comes to the fact that a lot of these players don't play with each other that often. I'm not saying they should play for the same club. I'm saying that when it comes to friendlies, we need to become more consistent with the players that we're playing. They need to become more accustomed with each other. We don't have a Lionel Messi that can get us to the World Cup by himself. We don't have a single player that can carry us all the way through. Christian Pulisic is doing everything he can, and it still isn't enough. Clint Dempsey, at this point, he was a super sub. I don't even know if you can call him a super sub. He played decently well in the 2 games we brought him in. He still can't get his record-breaking goal. At this point, he's probably too old. He's definitely not going to play in the next World Cup, so why do we continue to play him now? Obviously, I'm saying all of this post-losing. We need to look forward. We need to build from what we have. And just to go back to the gameplay here, we did end up changing formation, going 3 in the back. This is something I think that the U.S. is not capable of doing now, but could be in the future with the center backs that we're coming up with. A lot of opportunities with defenders to come through the pipeline and make a very good defense. I think this game ended up working out well for me because I'm comfortable with this formation more so than I think the U.S. is actually set to use this formation. But we need to look at the players. For some reason, we're ignoring players that are in Europe. Not to say that every single player in Europe is better than the players that play in the MLS, but they are there for a reason. They've managed to get to where they are for a reason. So we need to look at the players that we've ended up kind of negating or looking away from that are still doing well in Europe. Yeah, we have Julian Green, who we don't know if he's ever going to be anything for the U.S., but we can hope. We can give him another shot if we really want to. But there's a lot of other options in Europe that we can look at. And again, still in the MLS, we need to focus on building from what we have and training the players that we have to play well with each other. I think the U17s are doing really well. I think they're doing really well because they play with each other a lot. That starting 11 doesn't change that often, but even when it does, they train a lot together, which they have more time to train together because they are U17s. They don't play for their club as often. I understand that, but still. And we need to start looking at the 18-year-olds, the 19-year-olds. Some 17-year-olds are even worth it. Christian Pulisic is 19 and he's already doing well. You look at players, yes, I can be a little bit more biased as an Atlanta United fan, that Andrew Carleton will be in somewhat of a talk to be in the next World Cup, I believe. He could definitely get into some friendlies in the next few years. Chris Goslin as well. In this game, I have Greg Garza at left back. I think currently maybe not the best option at left back, but could be given the right structure, given the right build for this team to work. But you have to look at the players that we have other than the core five that we for some reason continuously play game after game, week after week, qualifier after qualifier when we're not winning games. For some reason we're aiming to qualify instead of aiming to win the group. Are we 100% better than Mexico? No. Is Mexico 100% better than the US? Maybe with the team that we just put out? Yes. Overall, no. We could easily split games with Mexico. We should easily split games, if not win most games from the group. So we should be in the top two regardless. I think Costa Rica definitely has a very good team. I think they have a very good reason to be in the top two this year. Do I think they are outright better than the US? No. Do I think the US is outright better than Costa Rica? I'm not sure as of right now, because I don't know what this team is capable of anymore. But the point is we've got to stop letting players into the team just because they did us well in the World Cup. They need to prove themselves, but we need to give other people a chance. You can't expect the same players to do well every 4 years. They grow, they get older, they play different, the team changes. It's how it goes. We need to adjust with the times, and I think a lot of these managers aren't willing to change. Now, obviously the conversation is, should we have fired Klinsmann? I'm not sure. I think if he lost the dressing room, he lost the dressing room. There was no coming back from it. Bruce Arena brought in old tactics with a little bit new thinking, but maybe not new enough, maybe not a strong enough belief or thinking in the club. The players were not playing well enough. Regardless of what you say from the record, we should have been playing better, we should have been playing more as a team. We were not. Alexi Lalas called out the team, called out the players, nobody listened, we missed the World Cup. We cannot blame what else happened in the table other than the losses that we had. As this game comes to a close, that's really my thoughts on it. You guys can look at the team that I posted here. I'll put a foothead link down in the description below, also with some other players that I believe could make it into this team, and you guys can look at the ratings there. This team has potential to grow into a much better team than we have currently. A lot of these players in FIFA, yes, FIFA ratings are questionable, especially potentials, but you look at the ratings that they have, all of them have the potential to be decent players, not world class, not incredible. We have a couple that could end up turning out that way, but not the entire team. But we should, by the next World Cup, ideally have players that should fully be able to replace the Michael Bradleys, the Tim Howards, the Josie Altidores. They should all be fully replaced by the next World Cup and by the next qualifier, in my opinion. This game we ended up winning 7-1. Again, it was more just because I'm more comfortable with this formation than I think it is the US needing to play with a 3 in the back right now. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Have I missed any players? I left out Andrew Carleton and Chris Goslin in this team, but let me know what players you think should make the qualifiers in the future and what teams you would like to see us play with and what formation you guys would like to see. That is going to be the end of this episode. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you are new. And until the next one, I will see you guys later.